Hola, bienvenidos to this week's Tarot Talk. I'm Auri Solares, and today we are going to dive into the week for Marzo the 8th through to the 14th. A fun and notable mention that we have yet another Friday the 13th already. Since we had Friday the 13th happen in February, we have it again in March, and I take that as quite the auspicious sign for us to work with the magic that is embedded in that day. It is Venus's day, and we are going to be discussing Venus quite a bit this week as well. Actually, that's how we start off the week. Sunday the 8th, Venus in Aries makes a conjunction to Saturn in Aries. Both Venus and Saturn struggle in Aries, and the ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars is currently in Pisces. So there's no connection or support that Mars can possibly give to either Venus or Saturn at this time. They're alone in this journey that they're on, and they have to almost rely on each other. Venus rules over women, the feminine, whether that is feminine energies or how you present femininely, queer people, the trans community. It rules over finances, money, pleasure, abundance, wealth, resources, beauty. And Saturn is the planet of commitment, constrictions, boundaries, responsibility, patience. And when you combine these energies, what are you committing to at this time that you want to see flourish? This is happening in the house of Aries. Aries is a very playful sign. Aries wants to be in it to win it, that impulsive, ready, set, wait, you're already running before we even said go kind of energy. And Saturn and Venus here are really going to try their best to cultivate and get creative with the energy of patience. Women in your life, or if you identify as a woman, or if you identify as someone who is very feminine, might be experiencing heightened conditions of being boundaried or even receiving extra responsibility in your life at this time, wherever it is that Aries falls in your chart. This can be a moment where you might really desire to go quick and fast and get that immediate gratification. And we are being challenged to slow down and to temper some of that fieriness as best as possible. So there's an element of creative patience and to get really resourceful in how it is that we navigate a situation where we do want to go hot and fast, but we are being asked to wait and to breathe and to take a second. If you are making a commitment to a very passionate and beautiful relationship at this time, I would say that this would absolutely be a mirror for that. And because Venus and Saturn don't do well in Aries, it means that it is probably very unconventional, very different, and you have to pivot a little bit in how you do things. But it can also be very passionate in a slow burn kind of way. So if this is in relation to romance or to a partnership that you are in, then this could be a moment where maybe you are reigniting a fire in this dynamic, making new commitments, establishing new boundaries so that there is enough momentum to carry you in the long run and not for it to fizzle out and burn away so quickly. In a relationship, ideally, you want it to last a long time, unless there's some sort of agreement that it'll be hot, heavy, and fast, which works for some people, but wherever it is that you are, you have to make that agreement with the other person. It takes two to tango. So on this day, what boundaries, what agreements are you refreshing? What commitments are you making? And what is the passion that is fueling that forward? What is the creative energy that wants to be birthed from that? On Monday the 9th, Mercury retrograding in Pisces will make a trine to Jupiter retrograding in Cancer. And because we are in this Mercury retrograde moment, this is actually pointing to a revisit of a conversation or an event that happened on February the 16th. Now, what happened on February the 16th? It was the day before the eclipse in Aquarium. Any information that you got around this time, any kind of conversation or communication that you engaged in is maybe going to come back up. It might not be the exact same thing, but it'll be very similar. And when you have Mercury in Pisces in its fall, making a trine to Jupiter in Cancer in its exaltation, there's a lot lot of support being given there. And overall, this could be a reminder or a message that is re-emphasized of hope and abundance and joy. You might find that you are engaging in conversations with those around you that are similar to maybe one that you had on February the 16th that promote a sense of support, compassion, well-being, and community at this time, not just for yourself, but for others. And ultimately, this is an influence that facilitates us to engage with joy and fantasy because it's good for the spirit, not necessarily because it's factual. So there's an element here of just disregarding the logical way of thinking and feeling about the world and saying, I'm going to allow myself to just believe that something greater is available for me, even though the facts don't support it, even though this seems impossible. Let me lean into the energy of miracles and magic because I can and I'm able to. And miracles are not logical. Miracles do not have any semblance of being able to back it up by statistics or facts or anything like that. Miracles are not just fuel for hope and joy for the person that receives them, but for others who witness them. So share what miracles have happened in your life with others. Sit with them, account for them. They mean something. And remind yourself that that is available and that is possible. Happened once, it can happen again, no matter how small it felt, no matter how surreal it felt. And there's gold there for us to work with, to play with, to fashion into something even more beautiful for us to share with others. The energy of miracles is very unique. And so something about this day just feels like a reminder that magic and miracles are available and they're here and we should speak to them, not only as a way of honoring them, but as a way of giving ourselves permission to believe that that is always available for us. It is not just like a once in a lifetime thing. Miracles are always there for us if only we are open to asking for them and to believing that we deserve to receive them. And that's not a permission that a lot of people realize that they can give themselves, but it is. On Tuesday the 10th, Venus in Aries is going to make a sextile to Pluto in Aquario at 4 degrees. And this is a moment where women and the femme community, queer community, the trans community, are in a moment in time that is a game changer. There are a lot of things that are surfacing from the collective that need to be alchemized, a lot of heavy, dark things. And at the forefront of that is this community of women, of queer and trans people. And there is a active reclaiming of our power and our sovereignty. And it feels a bit like a fight. Venus is in Aries, and Aries will put up a good fight. And with Pluto being in Aquario, it is exposing a lot of those collective unconscious beliefs or tragedies that have happened to the surface for them to be revealed and transmuted and alchemized. So violence could be illuminated at this time. Themes of a wrathful goddess emerging from the fire and really just reclaiming all of her sovereignty, all of her energy, all of her power to heal and to move forward in a way that will never allow for that to happen again. This reminds me of that scene in Game of Thrones where Daenerys is emerging from the hut that is burning, and everyone for the first time realizes that she is not only immune to the fire, but she is the fire herself. This feels very much that. It is a moment of women reclaiming their energy and their sovereignty from breaking free from whatever patriarchal mental shackles are imposed upon us on a collective scale from the moment that we're children, having us believe that there's only one right way to live life as a woman, and that after a certain point you wither away and are no longer of any value. That's just not true. That is so outdated. That is ridiculous. And more we see women reclaiming their own story, reclaiming their lives. So on Tuesday the 10th, we can very well see an abundance of this energy circulating the air, in the atmosphere, in a very charged, electric, and fiery way. And I find that to be very hopeful and very inspiring. Regardless of Venus struggling a bit in Aries, Venus here learns how to armor herself, because women need to have that skill in this world. Ideally, the best form of protection that you can ask for from yourself is to know that you don't need it. And also, the reality is that we are in a planet with unforeseen, uncontrollable factors all around us at all times. And the better armor that we are on a spiritual level, mental, emotional, physical level, the better. Better to be prepared than to not be. An energy to really reclaim that power. And if you don't identify as a feminine person or a woman, and maybe you're more in your masculine energy, or quite literally you're just like, I'm a guy, then the women in your life are needing your support at this time on that level. And I invite you to also reflect on how you inadvertently contribute to a patriarchal system that is harmful for women, and how you can take accountability and do the work and show up differently and in a more supportive, safe way for the women that are in your life. Because misogyny is deeply rooted in everyone, and it is something we have to unlearn because of the society that we are born into. Unless you had the privilege of, not growing up in such a society, maybe you were born out in the countryside in a different place on earth, and you were homeschooled and you have these like super radical, beautiful, expansive ideals, it is likely that the collective is not quite there just because of the messaging and how demonized the feminine has always been. We've got Eve, we've got Ereshkigal, we've got all of these goddess women historical figures who are demonized. And that kind of leads me into Friday the 13th. But before we get there, Jupiter is going to station direct in Cancer at 15 degrees. Now, the last aspect that Jupiter made before its direct station was that trine with Mercury. And so messages that came through from that trine are amplifying Jupiter's direct station and preparation to now move forward. 15 degrees of Cancer, that leaves us with quite a bit of time until Jupiter departs and goes into Leo. So we'll have Jupiter in Cancer for 3 more months, and it will officially ingress into Leo on June the 30th. So Jupiter, as I've spoken about many times, is in such a good condition here. Jupiter adores being in Cancer. It is exalted. Jupiter has facilitated a lot of this beautiful energy for us in some of the rockiest moments that we've had from last year into this year so far. And this isn't to say that once Jupiter goes into Leo, everything's gonna hit the fan. But there is an energy here of abundance, luck, beauty, and miracles that is very unique to this specific configuration of Jupiter being in Cancer. So I encourage you for the next 3 months to really appreciate this energy, to really work with it, to lean into your luck and your miracles and your magic. And if there's something that you want to birth or bring into fruition, give yourself this time period to work on that. Now, if you just want to coast on by and enjoy the generosity of Jupiter in Cancer, then you can do that also, but Jupiter won't go back into Cancer for quite some time. So it's quite special that it has been here for us and has been so supportive for us throughout this time. And Jupiter in Leo will do its own thing. It'll have its own energy for sure. We are going towards a very theatrical, very dramatic and fiery time. So that's going to be its whole thing. But with Jupiter in Cancer here, finally moving forward, enjoy these next 3 months. Really take advantage of this energy. It is a beautiful moment to launch something new or to commit to something expansive and nurturing and playful. If you want to learn more on how to work with this influence specifically for you, feel free to book a consultation with me at audisolares.net. I can help you find where the luck and the miracle and the expansion is most activated in your chart, because miracles, magic, and beauty are always activated in your life, and more so in certain areas of your chart. It's not just Jupiter though. There's other planets and considerations. Anyway, then we get to Friday the 13th. Mars in Pisces is making a conjunction to the North Node in Pisces at 8 degrees. We are moving from a place of compassion and fighting for what we feel deeply connected towards. There is likely going to be some kind of fated action that is moving you from your heart. This is the kind of energy where you act now, apologize later. That's very Mars. But in relation to something that is in your empathy, in your sense of your ideals, in what makes you feel this sense of oneness with others and with life and with the earth. And so there will be likely some pretty important moves that you make on this day that propel you even more towards your dreams and your fate and your future. Because we are talking about the North Node here, there is a bit of a hunger towards achieving something or to getting towards something, and Pisces being the ruler of dreams, of the whimsical, of compassion, of emotions, of sensitivity, and being psychically attuned to the divine and to the world all around us. How is it that we incorporate this relationship in our day-to-day? How is it playing a role in how we physically move through the world? When we get angry about something, how is that a part of that anger, that like sacred anger? And how does that give us a sense of the future that we are creating for ourselves? And of course, besides this aspect, it's Friday the 13th. And as I've already been speaking about, Venus is a key player in this week. And these feminine energies are super activated right now. And it's not just women on Earth, but it's the Earth herself. And so on Friday the 13th, I invite you to really meditate and sit with the Earth and see what it is that she's feeling, what it is that she wants to share with you. That is our mother on a very simple level. And you don't have to believe it to be that way, but if you want to break it down scientifically, this body is borrowed. This body does not come with us into the afterlife. It is a combination of minerals and space matter and nutrients that our mothers consumed when we were in the womb. We are physical. We are of this earth. We are a part of this earth. We are these organisms that she sustains and holds up until our death, and then she absorbs us back in. We belong to the earth, and she is our mother. And we need to consider this so much more in everything that we do, in our day-to-day, in our relationship with the plant kingdoms and the animal kingdoms, the birds that are outside your home, the squirrels, the possums, the raccoons, not just like the beautiful mystical animals, but the animals that are all around, the mice, the rats. Rats are so intelligent. This element of condescension towards certain species just because we don't deem them as beautiful or attractive, there's no more room for that. And when I say, loving Earth and Earth being our mother, I'm not just talking about mountains out in Colorado or in Mexico. I'm talking also about the trees that are on the side of a highway. I'm talking about the soil that is outside of a freaking McDonald's. It's all Earth. And we need to treat it in a sacred and reverential way every single day, more and more, not just because it's our destiny on the line, but because of how much she provides for us and how much she takes care of us. And I once sat in a 3-hour meditation with the earth, channeling Coatlicue, who is the serpent skirt goddess in Mexican mysticism, Aztec mysticism. And for 3 hours, I just sat and I closed my eyes, and it was a part of this exhibition, and it was a part of this altar, and people were bringing food for a food drive, and we were donating to the community with my really sweet friend. And I didn't know what to expect for these 3 hours. I was like, I will meditate for 3 hours. I'll just sit here. I had no idea what I was going to expect. And by the end of this art performance, I was so lit up. I was so angry. I felt so much anger. I felt like my skin was on fire. I was so hot. And I just listened. I just sat with the energies of Coatlicue, who represents the Earth Mother. And of course she's angry. Of course she feels this divine, sacred wrath. We're not being respectful guests in her home. And Friday the 13th is not just, a day of witches and magic and manifesting abundance and an ex-lover. It is a day to sit with your connection to this planet in relation to your surroundings, and to really hold yourself accountable and ask you, how am I taking care of the earth just as much as she takes care of me? So yeah, I absolutely do connect the feminine to Mother Earth. I connect Mother Earth to the feminine, to the womb, to magic, to beauty, to pleasure, to love, to abundance, and so many other things. Friday the 13th can mean an infinite amount of things for different people. That's how I connect to it, and to our magic as well. It is a day that emphasizes that we can work with tools beyond what we are presented with to enhance and support ourselves and our lives. So, however it is that you choose to spend Friday the 13th, I hope that it is magical, sweet, beautiful, and lovely. I hope that you have a very powerful week. It is a very creative week, one to really lean into your capacity for resourcefulness and for groundedness, and to ask yourself, what is it that I want to focus on right now in this moment in time? And how can I reclaim my energy and my power from distractions or from belief systems that I no longer want to contribute to? And how can I rebirth myself in a way to where I am moving so much more authentically through this world? So that's the week. I hope that it has been helpful. Lean into your sovereignty, reclaim your energy and your power from outdated belief systems and power structures. Work with the magic that is in your life. If you want to connect on a deeper level with me, visit audisolaris.net and we can talk stars together. I'll see you in the next one. Cuídense.